What is up, my YouTube family? We're back again with another one. Guys, we're back today with the Kylie Rodni case. I was watching an interview with Venture with a Purpose last night, and something caught my eye, guys. This whole case is totally fucking weird. And I'm just not for sure what words to use for it to actually clarify how weird it is. It's like I can't even find a word to say how sorry I am for this little girl's death. So I'm searching for words with you guys. I'm searching for reasons with you guys. I'm searching for everything that I could possibly search for with you guys. I don't do this for myself. I do it for you guys. That's who I do it for. 100%. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna watch this video, we're gonna react, we're gonna pause through it, we're gonna react to it, and then afterwards we're actually gonna pause it and we're actually going to talk about it even more. But as I say what I'm saying, I think about words that, again, I could use. So whenever we think about words, what do we think about? Do we think about sorry? Do we think about sorrow? Do we think about love, her family loving her? Well, let me tell you something. Whenever her mom showed her face, there wasn't very much emotions there. Now, can that be because of the reason why she is actually gone and she's not actually clarifying that or taking that in for herself as a breath? Probably so. She hasn't dealt with her daughter's passing yet. But I've said stuff on my channel before about the car not looking like the car that was pulled out. So I'm gonna go forward here, and we're gonna start this video, guys. But through this video, I find myself looking for the words to say, and I just can't find them. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the family. What words would you use of this girl being missing? Would it be foul play? Would it be wrong? Would it be anything that the words that you could find to say to put towards this little girl's family or this little girl? Put it in my comments to let me know. Whether it be lost or whatever it may be. You know, words is everything. But when we put together words, it makes a sentence. That's the whole point of that whole thing. Anyways, guys, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel is highly appreciated, guys. Anyways, this is a video that AWP did. It is the interview with the tow truck driver, but there's key spots in this video that I want to point out to you guys. Anyways, guys, let's continue this video.
Kiley Rodni case just down the street in Truckee, California. And Nick, a longtime supporter, fan of ours, appreciate you for coming up to us, possibly has some information in regards to the Kiley Rodni case. So why don't you explain a little bit about what you may have run into?
So my name is Nick. I work at an emergency roadside assistance program. I got a call up in Truckee, Boca, for a battery call. So pretty much that means that the vehicle can't start. So I went en route up there, found the vehicle. At the time, I didn't realize that this was a situation until later on, but...
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
You said you went to Boca.
Yes, sir.
So over near Boca Lake?
Yes, sir.
So not Prosser Lake, Prosser Creek Lake.
It's right by Crosser Creek.
Yeah, so just north. So you went to Boca.
At first, when I went there, I realized after my test that, everything was working great on the vehicle. At that point in time, I did notice that, she was very hesitant and very skeptical on everything that was going on. She was asking me really weird questions, in the sense of, how do you put on your seatbelt correctly? And okay, and she asked me to show her on how to connect it to.
So I'm going to stop it right here because I want to talk about something. So this guy says that later on in this video, pay attention. He says that he had to leave the car running for a couple hours, but then he goes and he says that he was on a battery call. Okay? But then this guy just said that he told her that everything was working fine. So which one is it? Was the battery bad? Because your words just said to everybody here that it was working just fine. That's what you just said. Anyways, guys, let's continue with this, see what he has to say.
Like her actual belt. After that, she was stating on how she was there all night and she couldn't get her vehicle started due to the fact that now we both realized it was in neutral. She was wearing a sweatshirt, so it looked like she has been there for quite a while.
What color was the sweatshirt?
It was a gray sweatshirt.
Gray sweatshirt. Was it dark gray or light gray?
It was light gray.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, there was a guy there that was with her at time being. He was wearing a black San Francisco flat top ball cap facing forwards. Brown hair that's sticking out just a little bit on the sides. It was kind of like they were both kind of at unease is what it looked like for me, like as if either they had a crazy night or a crazy day or there's something going on I couldn't know, and at the time I didn't realize what was going on. But other than that, he was I mean, a thinner built guy is the best way I could put it, with a bro tank, and it was white bro tank. He had some freckles on his face, like, or maybe it was like acne or whatnot, but it was on both sides of his face. Oh, he was also a little bit like shorter than me, so I'm 6'3".
In hindsight, you're realizing.
So he just described Jagger to us, guys. So the San Francisco hat, the hair sticking out the back, the seatbelt. Why? Okay, when a girl comes up to you and basically says, "Hey, how do I stick this through my belt?" Maybe Kiley Rodni tried to send him a mixed message saying, "Hey, these are weird questions. Pick up on them, please, because I can't say much because basically this is happening. I heard a conversation. I may have come from somewhere that already was actually, beat up. That screams help to me. That screams code to me. How do I put a seatbelt through my belt and click it?" It sounds like to me she was sending code at this point to him. So pay attention to later on this video, because he makes no valid points to be exact, because everything he says is about cameras in his truck. Well, if there was cameras in your truck, dude, where's all the stuff at? Where's the camera showing that who she was with, what she was doing? And then here in a minute, pay attention also, because he goes on to say us, that they was coming over towards us, meaning more than one person. I'm talking about the tow truck driver says that in this whole conversation. Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what they have to say.
All of this. When do you think that this took place? Was it before, during the day, after she disappeared?
To be honest with you, it's either right after she disappeared or right before she disappeared.
Okay.
But it was around noonish, like 11 o'clock in the morning when I got out to her. And during that period of time, after the period, I told her that I was going to leave and I hope you have a great day. Vehicle, I told her to keep it running for a couple of hours.
Now he just
see this
said
plastic
that
tote
he
right here?
wanted
I'm going to
he
show you
just told
something
her
right now.
that everything was okay,
obviously make sure everything's
checked out. So now he says to keep it running for a couple hours. Well, if you're AAA, aren't you supposed to stay there until the person basically drives away? Because every AAA I've ever called has always stayed there until I drove away. So now we have this guy going on talking about how he everything checks out. What they was doing, there was two people. He basically told us it was Jagger with the hat, with the hair, with the height. And then he goes on to say later here in a minute about the cameras on his truck. Well, where's the camera footage from the cops? Why haven't they said who this person was? Because this person, I believe, used Kiley Rodni's phone. That's what I totally believe. Whoever Kiley Rodni was with, he's the one that used her phone. So at this point in time, this guy's said like 5 different things, but never stood by what he said. So anyways, guys, let's see what they have to say.
Working good on the vehicle, charging system wise. At that point in time, then I left, and then a week later is when I saw at a coffee shop that she was gone.
You saw this on a flyer or something?
Yeah, but then everything spiraled out of control, and I got in contact with the detective and tried to do everything I could, and yeah, and then I saw you guys.
Now we know we probably have a tie to Boca, which was already on my radar. Do you know who placed the call to your roadside company?
So I can't get details. Calls don't go through me, they go through
Dispatch, so you don't have... So when you were digitally dispatched, did you call them to say you were coming, or you just showed up?
I did call and nothing went through. It went straight to voicemail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if she had a phone on her at the time?
She did state that her phone was dead, and so
dead.
she used whatever guy, whoever this was, she used his phone. So that's how she did get in contact.
And what was... You mentioned, like, she was asking funny questions and acting weird.
Granted, I at the time I didn't realize again that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the towing industry my whole life, so you see a lot of...
So go through Jagger's phone. Why haven't we skimmed his phone? Anyways, he says that he has a alibi and he was 4 hours away. But yet this guy just sat here and described Jagger. Now, is this a dealing of misidentification? Maybe he's seen Jagger before and he put a face with this guy that she was by. But why would he say that he was wearing the same hat, the same hair, the same height? It 100% screams Jagger at this point, right? So now we have this guy saying everything checked out in the car. Then he said that first off, he says he got called for a battery call. Everything checked out in the car is what he said next. Then he tells her to let the car run for 2 hours. Well, if everything checked out in the car, why is she letting it run for 2 hours? You're AAA, you're supposed to stay there. And if you can't get her car going, then you guys usually give them a ride home. That's usually how it works at this point. Then you go on and you say that Kiley Rodni seemed intoxicated and there was drug use going on. But then you go on and you say that there was nothing in her car but a perfume bottle. But now you're speculating at this point about the drug use and the alcohol. I totally think that Kiley Rodni was sending him a message without saying help. That's what I believe at this point. Now pay attention to the cameras on the vehicle. He says that he has cameras on the vehicle and they was pointed towards her vehicle to cover his back. But then he goes on and says us, meaning they was coming towards us, meaning he said more than one person. If you say us, what does that mean? It usually means two or more, correct? Anyways, guys, let's see what they have to say.
Crazy stuff, a lot of weird stuff, and it's actually pretty normal,
Yeah.
you know. So I can see why at the time it's just a normal call.
She kept on going over that, like, how do you like, you know, secure your seatbelt firmly and like do it correctly, and that's
when she was asking this, was the guy that she was with right there too?
He was on the opposite side of the car.
So he could hear the conversation as well?
Every single time the guy would come over to us, she would go on to the other side, and it was just like a back and forth, like a tag team, better to say. Like one person would come over, she wouldn't stay near him, and then it would go vice versa. Or if we were at the front of the car going about the battery and talking about the battery, he was always on one side, she was on another. They were never close to each other.
She was uncomfortable. Right. Yeah, because that screams awkwardness and someone being uncomfortable. And when in that scenario, if he was there with her, he should have been right next to her. If not dealing with you the entire time, and not her. Did she seem high or intoxicated, or?
I thought that maybe she was either hungover or just had a really rough day. She looked distressed.
Can you show me on the map where you saw her?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're here in Reno. Let's go down to Truckee. There's Prosser, there's Boca.
Yep.
Just drop a pin on the road exactly where you saw her.
Well, we're at the right place, right? Boca, you come in, you follow this road down. I think that is the turnout right there. Yeah, this is it. And so right there, how she was coming out this way,
So
and
her front end was facing 894.
Yeah.
All right. And did you leave before her, or did she leave before you?
I left before her.
Was there anybody else around?
There was people far back here, yes, but not near her, no.
Did you notice anything in particular in her car at all?
I mean, besides perfume bottles and like Yeah, actually, there was a perfume bottle that was in the center console, and that was all that I recall, to be honest.
Did she have anything on her keys at all?
I don't remember.
Did you say that you guys have cameras that could possibly get some sort of facial recognition on?
Yeah. So we do indeed. We have cameras facing front and rear of our vehicles, as well as that we do have like audio, so we can pick up audio from inside and outside of the truck. So we did have that, and I'm guaranteed, I mean, my vehicle is facing directly towards hers, so, and that's how I normally do it for my protection.
What's the window you're giving us of when this happened?
Either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I believe. Because the weekends I usually cover Truckee, so, and that Friday I also worked in Truckee, so, yeah.
If you were to make a bet on what day it was, what would you say?
I mean, when I was looking back under my GPS, under my phone and where I've been, I was there both Saturday and Sunday, farther into Boca.
Everything you just heard unfolded.
So, in other words, he has a camera, okay, that faces the front and the rear of the vehicle. Why haven't we found out who this guy is with Kiley Rodni at this point in time? It should record everything by the time he got there to the end of him leaving. Should tell us enough of what we need to know about this little girl's death that we could put somebody behind bars for all this stuff. Now, I don't believe this was an accident. I totally do not believe it was. I believe that something happened to this little girl. I believe jealousy spoke a lot of words in this case. Because you have Sammy, guys, that takes over this whole thing with the finding of Kiley Rodni. The mom's gone. The dad's gone. They're at home or doing whatever they're going to do. You have no trash found at this party. You have nobody questioned at this party. You have no parties that was questioned and faces put with the guy that there was a camera on the whole time by a tow truck driver. So now we have a guy with the camera on a truck, and nobody has even seen a video of this recording of this truck. That's absurd. Why aren't we finding this little girl? Of who that was with her that night? And putting this whole case to rest. You guys know as well as I do that if we find this, if they look over this camera footage of this tow truck driver, AAA driver, whatever you want to call it, that we have a 100% chance of finding out more about what went on at this party. If not finding out who was in on Kiley Rodni ending up in the water. This is not an accident. That's my belief. Anyways, guys, let's see what they have to say.
Folded right here where I'm standing, talking about where Nick described him parking his service van. When he pulled up to give the battery service to Kiley, he parked his van right here, facing that direction. Her vehicle was parked right over here, facing 894.
I like welding because if you do a good job and you work hard at it, it's very
They
rewarding.
literally,
and the money
he
is
didn't even,
steady.
he said that the vehicle
That way.
was working when he got there. But then he mentions the battery once again. And I know I keep repeating that, but that is huge. Because if that's the case, why did he even get this call in the first place? Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what they have to say.
We're going outside of what we would normally do because we're normally working cold cases that have hardly had any resources whatsoever applied to them. This case has had over 10,000 man hours over the last 2 weeks placed in at Prosser. I'm confident in what has been done at
10,000 man hours. Choppers, drones, people on foot, FBI, people, divers in water. And they give the all clear on this reservoir. The cops did. So how did her car get overlooked? Because if you look whenever they find her car, which we're going to skip to that part, but if you look whenever they find her car, it says 7.5 feet of water, guys. Okay? So if you do, they said 14 foot. In order to be 14 foot, it would have to be stacked on top of each other and go like a tower, and it would be 14 foot down. The car on the top, sitting on the top of its upside down, isn't 14 foot down. Because when the sonar pinged this car, he sticks a magnet on it, goes over it, and right before he gets over this car, guys, it says 7.5 feet of water. So the helicopters, the drones never seen this car. I made a video on this yesterday, but I'm pinpointing stuff here that makes absolutely no sense because I stayed up last night watching videos continuously. And this is the biggest video that I found that made absolutely no sense. Now, am I saying AWP has something to do with this whole thing of something not making sense? No, I am not. What does not make sense is there was cops in the water diving and they never found this little girl. But AWP comes in within 30 minutes and finds this little girl. And they didn't want them there in the first place. That's weird, guys. This whole case has been weird. This whole case makes absolutely no sense. This whole case reminds me of a case that is in a movie or something, that it could be put in a movie and told the story, or a documentary. It's weird. Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what they have to say. Let's go ahead and go on wherever they find this car. So we're going to start right here, and then I'm going to explain more about what I think through this whole theory.
I just confirm there are human remains in the vehicle. Over.
So if you see how this car is laying, that's not 14 foot down. I know enough about depth finders on boats and stuff that I know for a fact in order for this to be 14 foot down, they would have to stack it on top of each other. That's how they would have to stack it. When the sonar pings this car, it is 7.5 feet down. That's it. Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what they have to say.
10-4.
The passenger window is broken out, it appears.
And no, there is nothing floating in this car. Nothing. Not one thing is floating in this vehicle at this time. So this vehicle has been down there how long? But the laptop came out. But everything else is in the car. Does this not seem weird to anybody? Does this not seem like something is fishy 100% with this case? Now, am I saying that Kiley Rodni is not a real girl? No, I'm not. But am I saying people has a right to their own opinions about their own theories and about what they think happened and about what they think didn't happen? Of course. That's what I'm saying. I'm a person for 100% open mind. If someone wants to make an assumption or make a point, a valid point about an assumption and prove it, then I'm all for that. But I'm also for freedom of speech. And I believe that in America, that is one of our biggest problems, is not listening to each other, not coming together and putting our heads together the way it's supposed to be done. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and skip forward on this. We're going to go ahead and skip until they drop the magnet over. Can you imagine doing this with people around, how they have to actually, how quiet they have to be through this whole thing and stuff? That's just absurd. Let's go ahead and see where they dropped this magnet at. Let's see, where are we at here? Let's see where this is at. So, let's see, where did they drop the magnet at on this? So here we go. We're going to start right here. They're going to actually drop the magnet, and I want you to look at the depth finder at this point, what it says at this point. Let's continue.
Cause as little. We found nothing. We're just moving locations. That's all.
That would be hard.
Excuse
That
me.
would be hard
kind of
as
car do you
hell
drive?
to do all this stuff, knowing there's someone right behind you.
If this is her, you know, this means all hope is lost as far as her still being out there.
Right.
And her showing up, her being found safe. This is devastating. This is as devastating as it gets. You know, it's different when we're finding somebody who's been missing for 20 and 30 years.
Right.
This child, you know, 16-year-old, same age as my daughter. She's only been missing for 2 weeks. Literally, the campground is right up over the hill. Okay. Right over the hill. This car is 3/10 of a mile from the campground she was at.
So why did she go over there? Why did she end up over there? And if you pay attention to the call that he made, the message he got earlier in this video, if you read his lips whenever they blink it out, they say that she was fighting with somebody, and he says Sammy. You could blatantly see his lips move. Guys, when I was in school, I was in a deaf class, okay? And sign language and stuff. And I was made and taught to read lips. And 100% he says Sammy. He says she was fighting with somebody, things got hot, she was fighting with Sammy, and people started to go because something happened. Then she ends up on this side of the reservoir by herself with one other person. Get the camera from the truck. I cannot stress that enough, guys. If they would get the camera from that truck, we would know everything we needed to know. We would know who to question at this point and find out the whole story. That's it. Anyways, guys, let's continue and see what they have to say. Can you imagine doing this? I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't. So I went forward too far, guys. Let's go to right here. Now pay attention to this depth finder. Go back a little bit. Okay, let's continue.
It's tall, whatever it is.
So it says 11.3 feet. He just hit the car, right? Now look what it says.
Got it.
11.2, 7.6.
We got a car.
So whenever he hit
We
this
got a
car
car,
and he got over
so-
top of this car, it said 7.6 feet.
Trying to pull myself directly over it. Look at that. It's not giving it.
7.3 feet is what this whole thing says. So you mean to tell me, and you can see his rope, it's tight on this magnet. It hit this car. It hit Kiley Rodni's vehicle. So you mean to tell me, and it, like I said, in order for this to be 14 feet, guys, it would have to be stacked from front to back, tall like a tower, to be 14 foot. 7.3 feet is actually to this car. This car is not 7 feet in length, in width. It's not. So they didn't even find her car in 14 foot of water, according to this sonar, this scan. And if you look at this vehicle, you can see the tires here and you can see the tires here. And this is the vehicle. Anyways, guys, that's my belief of this whole thing. If we can get a hold of them cameras off this truck, which has almost been a month, we don't know autopsy reports. We don't know whether she was drunk, whether she was doing drugs at the time, whether anyone else was even questioned. We have none of that answers. We don't even have the camera footage from this vehicle. So what are these people doing? Is this whole thing just going to be forgot about and just went on? Oh, it was an accident? Are they going to come out and say this little girl was on drugs and drunk at the time and just drove off into the lake? Are they going to say that she fell asleep in the back of the vehicle, in the trunk? Are they going to say that she floated over the seats after she went into the water? None of that makes sense to me. Those are all beliefs, and we're all eligible to speak our minds. And that's my whole point of this video, guys. Words put together sentences. Words are thoughts. Anyways, guys, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated, guys. Hope you guys like this video, guys. I like doing this stuff, but I wanted just to share my belief of this. And the sonar reading wasn't right. A lot of other things in this video just stuck out to me. Anyways, guys, salute the Creek Squad, guys. YouTube family, I love you guys very much. I'm out. Have a good one.